This conference will now be recorded.
The time being 4:46 p.m., I'd like to call the meeting of May 19th, 2022 to order. Before we get started, if you are joining us virtually, please mute your microphone during the meeting unless you want to speak. Otherwise, background noise will interfere with the meeting. We'll start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business is to review and approve the minutes from 4/21/22 and 5/5/22.
I think that on page 3 of 7, don't have my paper where I have the check marks on some of these things that I put. Is the proper on 3 of 7, where it starts out, Jeannie reported the 2 PD vehicles, is the proper way to say that won't be available until the fitting up? I think it's the fit up. I don't know, is it
Is it an upfitting actually?
upfitting? I knew fitting up didn't sound right.
I have a question on page 1.
Mr. Byron?
During the opening of the sweeping bids, I thought I had brought up the taking 150, breaking it out by hour and adding that to show that it was a closer comparison, so it doesn't look like it's so far out of whack.
Where are you at?
Page 1, under sweeping and paving, bid opening. I had taken the travel time and added that into the hourly rate. I don't know if it's relevant, but I know I mentioned it.
What is it you want to change?
Well, I thought to show that, because if you read it the way it is, it looks like it's $30 an hour, when in fact it was closer to a $10 or $14 an hour difference. That's all.
What specific line? Eric, I can't see it.
First, I believe the first bullet point of sweep, where it says sweeping bid.
Yeah.
I think Eric's emphasis on that was when you calculate in the flat rate of 150 on day travel,
Right.
that when the calculations come out, it was the bids were much closer in terms of the final number.
Okay, I'll have Gail listen to that and clarify
I
it.
think that there were other things that were also suggested in there, and I think that's probably why she left it out, because there were other things discussed as well in calculating the differences, because one of them left out part of that calculation in the total amount. Right?
I agree, yeah, and I think there was part of the
There was a
discussion was about,
discrepancy in the total amount, and that was the difference.
and there was a discussion from DPW Director Duvall about the responsiveness
Right.
with the local company being far more able to respond if there's any little things left over that they needed changed or corrected, swept.
Right.
seconds.
There it is.
My apologies.
You're excused.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of April 21st, 2022 as corrected or amended.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor of approving the minutes of April 22nd, 2022, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion passes. May 5th, 2022.
It's hard for me to comment on a lot of this because it was difficult joining it virtually to hear some of the comments that were made. So I'm just going to have to rely on you folks for that. Yeah.
Recess.
Mhm.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of May 5th, 2022.
Chessman, second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes from May 5th, 2022, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm going to abstain because I couldn't hear most of it. So
One abstention from Selectman Constantino. Next point of order is I'll make a motion to accept a $1,000 donation from Tilton Cal LLC for the Tilton Senior Center.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any
that's a huge donation. He does this every single year for us. This comes at this particular time because we needed a new refrigerator. Story come later during my report. Graciously accepted. A wonderful community partner.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Those in favor of accepting the $1,000 donation for the Tilton Senior Center from Tilton Cal LLC, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Many thanks to Tilton Cal. Make a motion to accept a $151 donation from Shriram LLC, also known as the Econo Lodge, for the Tilton Senior Center.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Again, this is another one that, well, this is a very new donation. Emily happened to go in and put up a poster, and Econo Lodge owner asked about the senior center and asked if she could make a donation. Gratefully accepted. Thank you so much.
Hearing no more discussion, everyone in favor of accepting the $151 donation from Shriram LLC for the Senior Center, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next order of business is a swearing in for the police department. New officer, to be Officer Jack Serbst. Mr. Jesselman.
That's me.
We need the mic.
Only if you want to catch this on
Do we need the microphone for this one?
this microphone on.
Bring that.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have it.
Future.
We want to hear the speech.
Police officer.
Sweet baritone voice.
Sorry. Okay. To the inhabitants of the town of Tilton, In the county of Belknap, in the state of New Hampshire, whereas there is a vacancy in the position of full-time police officer in the town of Tilton, and whereas we, the subscribers, have confidence in your ability and integrity to perform the duties of said office, do hereby appoint you, Jack Serps, and I hope I didn't butcher that. Okay, to the position of full-time police officer for the town of Tilton, New Hampshire, which shall be effective as of May 20th, 2022. Whereas, upon your taking the oath of office and having this appointment and the certificate of said oath of office recorded by the Tilton Town Clerk, you shall have the powers, perform the duties, and be subject to the liability of such office until another person shall be chosen and qualified in your stead. Okay, now, raise your right hand. I, Jack Serps,
I, Jack Serps,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
I will faithfully and impartially discharge,
and perform all the duties incumbent upon me
perform all the duties incumbent on me
as a full-time police officer for the town of Tilton, New Hampshire,
full-time police officer for the town of Tilton, New Hampshire,
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
agreeably to the rules and regulations
agreeably to the rules and regulations
of the United States Constitution
of the United States Constitution
and the laws of the state of New Hampshire.
and the laws of the state of New Hampshire.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Take your time, let me get it out of the way.
We stab them like that, or EMT.
Good job.
You have a paper to sign here, sir.
And pictures with the family. Picture? Someone's gotta be first.
He doesn't have to sign it at all. Just me.
Come on, tough smile, Tom.
Right.
You guys all want to work together, take one.
Yep.
and we'll do the police department. Guys like this, but they don't.
I play this every time. Like,
She started off as a position, you want to go back. She want to take a picture. All right. All right, I'm gonna get-
Why?
Dickie, you gotta get up there.
Come on.
Squeeze in tighter. When.
And you like each other.
Somebody else.
Oh, that's interesting. Can I see that picture after?
Dress in the dark.
Good day for the town, so.
We're glad you made it.
Route 3 was brutal. I cut myself short, but I'm sitting there. Like,
And
I
as
could
we
have gone around through Northfield.
as we get closer to next weekend, it's over.
I won't be doing Route 3 again.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Good job. You back.
Oh,
Yep. I talked to Miss Love today. So, okay. Issues at school.
Graduation or the other?
Oh, the other,
Gotcha.
other stuff.
Yep.
All right. All right. So pressure.
No,
When looking last night, I saw three.
what's that?
We just went out looking to scout our route last night.
Oh, you
Stay out of the hot sun.
Oh, yeah.
Gonna be coming tomorrow. Keep your feet dry.
All week.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
I don't know what to say. I just thought it would be something.
That happened in the Knox last night after we went through. Good in the snow, they knocked it out in the water. No.
probably
No.
not.
No, he was from.
Who's hit my wife?
Oh, we went looking for this last night. And there- we came back to the area, there was a police outside. He found the car that did it. Let me win it. It was all cleaned up.
Are you ready to?
Yeah, that'd be good. I think with the number of non-publics we have. We should probably-
Out of 80 tax moves. Electronic files being used. Horrible. No, the colors on it, your tax, I just put blue
Are you listening to her? Yes, he is. As a matter of fact, he is. She
Oh,
is.
like a paintball.
Yeah.
We want to get Selectman Constantino out of here. Selectman Ruggles has to drive across upstate New York.
What's that?
I have to go across upstate New York.
I'll drive you. Want my bus? I'll drive.
I wouldn't
You
mind.
can snooze all the way.
You got my other kids too, so.
Oh, I get it.
We have any financial interest?
No.
It's not.
Are they flipping the sign down there?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I asked Liz to do it.
Oh. Hold on.
Don't worry, we haven't started it yet. It's
Intruder.
all good.
Intruder alert, intruder alert.
Intruder alert. Oh, for that. Oh,
Yeah,
water.
He forgot his gun.
Is this time for real? He's so funny.
Whatever you're in, Scott.
The time being 5:05, I make a motion to enter into non-public session per RSA 91A32A, the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee, or the disciplining of such employee, or the investigation of any charges against him or her, unless the employee affected, one, has a right to a public meeting, and two, requests that the meeting be open, in which case the request shall be granted. Also, RSA 91A32D, consideration of the acquisition, sale, or lease of real or personal property which, if discussed in public, would likely benefit a party or parties whose interests are adverse to those of the general community. And RSA 91A32L, consideration of legal advice provided by legal counsel, either in writing or orally, to one or more members of the public body, even where legal counsel is not present.
Second,
Seconded by Mr. Pyra. Roll call vote.
Constantino, yes.
Jessamine, yes.
Ruggles, yes.
Kyra, yes.
Scanlon, yes.
This conference will now be recorded.
I make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public session of May 19th, 2022, because the reasons justifying the need for the non-public session still remain.
Second.
Motion and a second by Mr. Jessamine. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of sealing the minutes, non-public minutes of May 19th, 2022, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Mr. Pearson, welcome back. We look forward to your update.
All right, so in your packets, I have a lengthy report for you to read and take a look at. You can discuss at a subsequent meeting. There's really nothing that has to be decided tonight in here, but I did want to make you aware of the contents. So the DRA MS 535 is, it's also in your email too, and that's available for signature. Pardon me. It is essentially the state's format of our audited financials. Also, there's an item for the Senior Center Expendable Trust Fund. Yeah, I think I do. I'm trying not to cough. Say that recently a water heater was replaced, and also there was some electrical work done. And those items can be paid for out of the Senior Center Expendable Trust Fund. I have an update for you on the FBI audit, which went well. Thank you. Oh, boy, much better.
I don't know.
Oh, no, sorry.
Okay.
The water was fine. Thank you. The audit went, I think, very well. A great deal of credit is due to Communications Supervisor Klutz, who pulled together a great deal of information for it. And I think we came out very well. We had to write a few procedures for them. There were some new issues that we had to deal with based on new criminal justice information guidelines. And but they actually said that we were in pretty good shape. So as we learn more about that in any kind of subsequent report, I'll be sure to let you know. In terms of our financial reports, we're in pretty good shape for the year. We're running a little bit under budget for expenditures, and consequently also a little bit under revenues as well. I guess the one area that really seems to get a lot of scrutiny is in the PD budget regarding officers' wages and overtime. And as you might suspect, because we have been behind in terms of hiring, so our PD wages for officers' wages are under budget, but our overtime is over budget for this time of the year. So, but as you can see, we're still in good shape. And then I've got two items here as well. And you can look through the financial reports if you have any questions. They're at the back. And there's really nothing that sticks out. I've been through it several times. And each week also, all the department heads get their expenditure reports automatically sent to them. So they have an opportunity to review each week as well. In terms of the website and also permitting application, I've given you some information to read here, but essentially with the website, A lot of the work I've been doing up until now has been on the back end, automating basically a content management system within Google so that it's a lot easier for people to post internally. And then once that's set, and that's pretty much done now, as well as a database of documents that we have that can be programmatically adjusted to show on different pages. And then the user interface is the second piece of that, which I've given you some prototypes that you can see in terms of how it would look on a phone, a tablet, or a desktop. And those are certainly all configurable, but the idea is to really mimic the Civic Plus type of setup. A lot of towns use that, but give you an example, one of our neighbors that did that spent $9,500 in putting that together. It's really not a very difficult thing to do. And the things I'm looking forward to are just making it a lot easier to find things, pardon me, in terms of searching capability, and then also less time spent by me where individual departments can post things much more easily without my intervention. So, and lastly, where I really see that going is by using the Google backend and the programming that I'm doing with the permit management and that sort of thing, that we have much greater capability of putting things together for citizens so that there's either how-tos, or if somebody needs to learn, well, how do I go about, getting a permit for a garage, or something like that, that anything that can be described can be put into a presentation or short video of some kind. And more importantly, any kind of forms that come in that we design and put on the website can be automated to either create PDFs, send them to the departments, refer them back to the original user, and that sort of thing. So, and then just in terms of the permit management, I gave you a little update on that. I also picked up some Apple products at the courthouse recently, which I hope to use in the land use department. And you'll see some of these prototypes, just sort of screenshots that follow. And when we get a little further down the road, if it's something that you're in favor of, what I will do is give you access so that you can be looking at, a prototype ahead of time, decide on colors, themes, that sort of thing. So, so that you'll have a lot of review and input as we go down that road.
I may have missed it when you said it, and I just didn't hear you, but those Apple products that he got for free.
Right. Yeah, there are 3 tablets, 5 phones. Right. Yeah. So
They're all obsolete, I think. They're all ended the support like.
No, I don't believe so. Not the tablets. The phones may be, further along, but that doesn't mean they're not useful to us. And particularly, I see it as something where they've got mobility with the app, so that, if they're at a filing cabinet, they don't have to run back to their desk to look something up. It's all wireless. So the one thing I would ask is for the Senior Center Expendable Trust Fund, if you do want to move those monies for the water heater and the electrical, we would need a motion, and there is a letter in your to be signed folder.
And they do want to move.
I think we should.
Want to cook?
I'm gonna pour it over my head.
Want Diet Coke?
No, I'm fine. I hope,
Make a motion that as agents for the Senior Center Extended Trust Fund, we authorize the withdrawal and request the trustees to remit $3,220.34 for a new water heater and electrical work at the senior center.
Rogers, second. Motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion to remit $3,220.34 for new water heater and electrical work at senior center, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes.
great. So if you would, or if you have already, you'll look in the to be signed folder. The letter will be in there.
I think it's already down there.
Okay. No, that's all right. Does anyone have any specific questions on the expenditures? I know you've just gotten them, but, and I think I will probably put the board on one of the automated emails, so monthly you'll get, say, the mid-month version of that. It comes out weekly. So, so today, the department heads got the expenditures through today that you have in front of you, as well as year to date. So, but on a monthly basis, it's probably more appropriate for you guys.
Couldn't help but notice that we're 44% used in town hall administration.
Right,
And
and
any cause for concern, or is that?
No.
front cost?
yeah, both the administrative budget and finance are kind of front end loaded, and primarily because of the insurances are all paid at the beginning of the year in the administrative budget, and then in finance, it's our debt that, the timing of the debt payments. Otherwise, our largest departmental budget is under budget. Pretty significantly under budget for now. And also, we haven't seen a lot of general assistance, very, very low activity. Actually, I don't think there's been any activity in the last month or so. That's not to say that won't change, and maybe that's weather dependent as well, but anyway.
I know offhand on the PD overtime, is any of that for dispatch or,
Yes, yes,
And-
yes.
Is
So
there-
some of that is.
I mean, couldn't we divert some of that over to Belknap, which we pay for anyway, and do that? I mean, we're paying for them to do that, whether we use them or not.
I asked that question. They're severely understaffed.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if they hire anybody. I think we
They're
can.
a lot
They're down.
understaffed.
So that was 2 weeks ago. I don't know if we do pay that Belknap County
We do.
anyway.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
sorry.
So, yeah, and so we can utilize that, or I don't know when, we can get somebody on or whatever.
Yeah, the only other thing I can think of is Chief Cormier was, responsible for setting the hours that they wanted the PD open from 8 a.m. until midnight. And that's about the only other, change I could see that would affect that department.
Well, I think there's a little bit of relief now because Eric is back part-time.
He's been working about 20
Eric
hours.
Robinson.
Yeah.
And if you looked at the lieutenant's report, you see they have a candidate for dispatch. That he's going to be coming to you and asking.
I see that our overall budget, the PD is well under.
Mhm.
However, we can use that money other places at
Right.
any time possible. We got a lot of road stuff.
And I believe at some point during this year, you'll be seeing a new body camera contract, as we're in the last year of the contract. So,
Let's not
The only
make
thing-
him talk any more than he
no,
needs to.
no, it's fine.
No, and somebody else can chime in. The answer to, I'm looking at the highway salaries overtime, I don't know if a lot of that was from the storms late in the year, or is there a way we can maybe get somebody part-time helpers or something?
He's down one person.
Yeah.
And we have been looking.
Even a part-time, somebody to mow or,
Well, and also, you know, we just had amnesty recently,
Right.
so that also kicks it up
That generates the overtime.
some.
yeah, I'm just looking, it's like 67% used and usually get those ice storms. And
Yeah. I mean, that, the majority of that was the winter, you know, obviously, but.
And guys are gonna watch, they've got a backlog of some vacation that they're gonna wanna use too, you know, over the summers. Yeah.
Question.
Mr. Pyro.
Do it, fuel for police and highway? It's weird though, well, it's not weird, but the highway is 45% expended. And the PD is only 23% expended. So is there a bill missing or is it?
No.
Is it just the cost, diesel, I mean, diesel's like $2 higher.
I think that's part of
Winter
it.
months.
And the winter months, you know, when they're plowing, they're doing all the plowing. And then also, you don't have as many people driving vehicles as we have in the past. So that'll change.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mr.
Well,
Pierce.
thank you very much.
Thanks, Jim.
I have to study mine at home, and then I ask.
Sure, yeah. I'll be back.
Next up is Selectmen's report. Selectman Scanlon, you are up first.
So it's nice to see a lot of flowers are coming up. Looks like we do need a few replacements, but
Yeah.
they survived longer than people had predicted. Yeah, so the town's really looking nice. I haven't really heard much going on. I know I did some cleanup from Chili's on down, some trash. Found some prescriptions that somebody just lost the day before and turned them in, so they were pretty lucky there. But I think that's pretty much it. One of the things, and I've heard a lot of people talking about it, and Kevin mentioned a few months ago about the noise from vehicles, people downshifting and doing that. I'm not sure if you're aware, but there's a new thing out where they call it snap, crackle, pop tuning. Now, they drive through town and predominantly at night. Saturday nights is a big thing, and it can be a stream of cars. And they run them through in like first gear and rev up real high and then let off. And it makes backfires and pop, 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 pop real loud. And it's very loud through downtown. And it, you know, it's where you're home, so you don't see it. So I've heard a number of people mentioning this and doing something. I don't know if we're actively going after people for making those noises and defective equipment or whatever, but that is, we do have it in our noise ordinance that you can't use your engine to brake to make or cause backfire to cause noises deliberately. It's something we might want to start taking a look at because,
Ask Dave about
yeah, tough one.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I witnessed it as recently as yesterday when I was headed into Walmart in the evening around 9:30, and there was a car right in front of me who decided to, and it's, I mean, and I heard same car, similar car a few nights ago where it's loud enough where I could see where residents might actually think that it's a gun shop. I mean, they.
What I thought it was
pops.
when it first
Yeah.
hit it.
Yeah, it really
So
pops.
living on Main Street, you
Oh, I
can't,
can't even imagine.
and you can't keep your windows open anymore, especially in my neighborhood where there's a hill there. I know downtown, they like to do it because it echoes in the buildings. So I can only imagine what the folks are doing living downtown. So,
New York City has a fine that they're proposing $6,000 for excessively noisy cars. $6,000
They've also,
first offense.
yeah.
But we do have an ordinance that talks about backfiring and deliberately and downshifting noise, so. That's it from me.
Thank you, Mr. Scanlon. Selectman Constantino.
I have more than a few, so I'll hurry. The first thing is, shall we open the highway for Monday evening for parking? You all read my email for the Caruso wake. It's Monday evening.
Can I expand on that?
I missed that part of.
So our thoughts and prayers, by the way, go out to Fred and his family. His son Brian passed away. So he's being waked on Monday evening. The anticipation is going to be a huge, huge crowd. They've asked if we could open up the highway garage for an extension of parking, additional parking. I also contacted for students donating a bus. Julie Petty has donated her time as a bus driver, and they'll shuttle from the high school on over to Town Line Plaza and then back to Smart Funeral Home Monday evening. They're expecting a very large crowd. So we just want to open up. I spoke with Abe. Abe said that he'll have an officer crossing, someone there, either Dickie or somebody.
Well, my suggestion is we have an officer there.
Yeah, officer there to cross. We did this in the past with Cheryl and Seth, when Seth passed away. To avoid congestion.
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
I think it's absolutely appropriate.
Okay. So Coca-Cola, as you know, Coca-Cola gave us came to our rescue a couple of weeks before we opened up the senior center because we didn't have a commercial refrigerator. Well, that was about 12 years ago, and the cooler has been failing, not holding the temperature, and we haven't been able to lock down Coca-Cola to come over and take a look at it to see if we need a new one or whatever, and we were going to go out and get a commercial refrigerator, but I stopped in and spoke with the manager, and they actually delivered one yesterday. So it was very, very nice, and meanwhile, Bob had sent us a check towards a new one. So, but he said to go ahead and use it. This was very nice. At the senior center, when Awakening Chiropractic was first there, John Bernard, we were developing lines, and then they're parking on the opposite side of the senior center. When you're looking at the senior center, the parking, additional parking for Awakening Chiropractic was on the left. Well, John had created a walking path in back of the senior center, and it was for a walking path. I noticed when I was up there for a meeting and while the plumber replaced the water heater, they're using that as a vehicle pathway. And we can't use that as a vehicle pathway because it wasn't built for that. If you remember how that was built, it was filled in, it was a very steep, you remember, it was a very,
but
very.
I thought there was bollards on that either end.
There were.
So you couldn't drive down.
You can drive through, but the road, it's not a road, it's a walking path. There's not.
It's not structurally designed for cars, vehicles, trucks, or anything.
Guardrails.
If it collapses.
It's going to, it's a liability, and it's not going to be pretty. So my suggestion would be, as selectmen, that we send Awakening Chiropractic, because they do have a new owner, it's Dr. Jillian. She is the chiropractor there. That we send her a letter and just remind her that when they established this, it was for a walking path only, and then it's not structurally sound for anything but that when John built it. I think they'll be okay with that.
I think probably a ball or some type, or even, those things that up at Dawson's Concrete, those
Yeah.
post things
Trees
that they use for a deck or something. Yeah,
Good
breeze
It had
post.
to be on their side because our side is for parking in, so you can't really put bollards there because it would hinder our parking.
In the path, in the middle of that path itself.
But
In
on
the
their
path
side, in their
itself.
path, they could probably,
In the path itself, on either end, they're not
Yeah.
supposed to be driving on that.
right?
I thought there was bollards on there for some reason.
I
We
thought it
talked
was
about
too, but I haven't really physically gone over there, but in the span of about 4 hours, I was there on Friday. It was probably 3 or 4 cars that went back and forth. So,
It's creating a,
yeah,
Yeah.
and they're small cars, but they still, we shouldn't be doing
no
it.
motor vehicles.
We shouldn't be doing it. All right, moving on. Tilton School today, they went to 15 different groups, 15 different homes. There were a number of people in each group. Seniors helping seniors. They went to 9 people in Tilton, and the rest were in Northfield. So kudos to the Tilton School. We're in a 22 plus years that we've partnered with Tilton School doing this. So very thankful. Somebody asked me, Jeannie, what the cost would be to continue the flags up to the veterans home, if we could somehow in the next month or so get a price to see if we could, like the flags that are here,
You mean
go-
on the poles?
on the poles, perhaps just continue up to the, if you need me to count the poles, I can.
Well, we'll need to get permission from our source, so I'll need the numbers on the poles.
I could do that too.
Yeah.
All right. And then find us a price, because I think they want to donate towards it. And also, about a month or so ago, I brought up Winnisquam Market. Could we ask land use for the Tim Bernier or I think it's either Tim Bernier or Chip Kraus, for the survey that was done on the parcel of land that used to be the not ice cream, they used to be the post office and then a motorcycle shop. We own a portion of that, and I want to find out, they did our survey of the town of Tilton of what we own. And I just want to take a look at that. I'm not convinced that they're changing the landscape up there. They've changed the landscape up there, and we own some of the land that they're changed the landscape on. The tiny little parcel of land that we own, it's to no benefit to the town. So we either try to figure out a way to transfer it or sell it or whatever, but we shouldn't just allow people to just change our landscape with no agreement in place as selectmen anyway. So we just need to just figure that out one way or another. it's so tiny, I don't think it's to any of our benefits. And I think that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Pat. So from my end, I had the Old Home Days folks need just the quick synopsis of our candidates that we've put forth to them. They need them by the 30th, if I'm not mistaken. May 30th, I think. I can't. I'll have to look it up, but if we could get those done, that'd be great. We have performance reviews in June, so we may need to mark our calendars for a meeting on the 30th, which would not be our regularly scheduled meeting. Okay, but we should. I'll say-
3:30.
So June 30th. So for performance reviews.
I'm giving you a heads up that, because we do performance reviews for all the employees, that we'll probably most likely need we'll need another selectmen's meeting. And so I'm saying that 30th is the Thursday. Where we would normally come in, because you come in the first and the third.
Last day of
That's
school.
4.
Yeah.
We most likely will need that, so set that date aside
I am.
in case.
Last day of school.
So yes, just noted. I'm going to do 2, and then I'm going to get to the meeting. A reminder for everyone that Academy Street is now one way. It is one way east to west, meaning running from School Street to Prospect Street. Also, a note for folks on traffic on School Street. On May 28th, Tilton School's graduation takes place on May 28th, starting at 10 a.m. So there will be some traffic diversion to allay the congestion that can happen around the road and the street to allow people to cross. So just a note on that. The last piece for the board is a request from Outfront Media. Outfront Media is the group that, if you know, owns the billboards down by the Valvoline, if you know those billboards. So they made a presentation to the Community and Economic Development Committee. They are looking to give us a presentation on a possible board and digital sign and renting, if you want to see pictures of it, and renting space on our DPW land to be able to put digital sign, because their plan is to put a digital sign on the space over on the Valvoline as well. So they would like to be able to, we would like to host them in terms of a meeting so that they can give a presentation to us on their ideas for that digital sign and explain to the town the benefits other than just the leasing of the land as well.
They pay us.
Yeah, it's not free. And there's other benefits as well as they with the Economic Development Committee, when they told us is that one of I'll use the term, it's a rotating advertisement. So they'll have, I think it was 8, did they say 8 advertising spaces, one of which is dedicated to the municipality, to the town. So if we wanted to announce Amnesty Days, they would have Amnesty Day on both. It's a 2-sided sign. On the sign at on the west end and on the east end. So both signs would have an advertisement.
How big are the signs?
10 by 30. So
Is it a 5-8 sign?
The same size that's already there.
Yeah, but
the ambient light.
It's an animated
the ambient
digital
light.
Flashing
electronic
signs
sign.
are only allowed by special exception.
So
It's just, they
And
still
a 10
have to
by
go.
30 is huge.
it's
It's the
smaller than
same-
a couple. It's
yeah.
the same size as a couple of the ones that they have over
So
there,
what
I don't like those either, and they don't flash.
but it becomes one.
The
One
one
sign.
grandfather. What did you?
Ah.
Go ahead, Jeannie, what'd you say?
they,
They could come in, I think it's absurd. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard of.
No, go ahead.
Excuse me.
just let them come in and present.
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, good. That's all for my Mr. Jessman.
Okay, on Monday and Tuesday, the NRRA, which is the Resource Recovery Association, had a conference at the Hilton in Manchester. Shane from the Department of Public Works with me on Monday. And they had guest speakers, and they talked about things like the future of MSW and landfills in the state, recycling, trends in recycling. And yeah, I mean, it was mostly on a worldview level, but it did get down to things that like landfills and so forth. Got information about some things that would make some things to use at the transfer station and ideas for that. The director couldn't go, and I haven't discussed my findings with him, but it was a, you know, it was like maybe 30% as big as it has been in the past. Used to have this giant hall of vendors, you know, 2-3 times longer than this room, and this time they had this room. So it was significantly less. And as far as concerts go, rumor has it that some bands have been procured, and that Titus would be in touch with me and or Scott Ruggles, and I haven't heard from him.
I haven't heard from him either.
So it's coming down to it. Supposed to start at the first week in July, and that's 5 weeks away. So I'll let you know when I hear more about that. And the other day, I was listening to Scott talk about jumping off the trestle. Well, they moved from the trestle and went to the Riverfront Park railings.
Piers.
The jumping off the piers again. And we've already, it's serious liability, certainly. And if they knock the railing up, it was difficult to fix last time. Thank you, Arthur. But it's just not good. So I spoke with Gail on a concert matter and just happened to mention, she said she was going to, there was an officer patrolling downtown and she would be in touch with her to go up and talk to the people. But I mean, if there aren't no jumping off the railing signs, there should be no jumping off the railing signs. Because somebody could get really hurt. Where they were jumping, there's a big cement thing.
It's one of the footings, the old footings.
Yeah. I mean, if you were gonna booby trap the railing jumping off spot, that's what you would put there. I mean, but in any case, that's my report.
Just to follow up, Mr. Jessamine, for anyone who were listening or listening in future that day, if you had not seen the notices that the summer concert series is scheduled to now be at the Tilton School Amphitheater until we get things sorted at the island. So, thank you. Mr. Pyra.
I really don't have anything major because I just got back into town from vacation, but in reviewing the police department report, they appear to have required the services of a pest service. And I'm just wondering, does the town already have an existing agreement? And is that who they contacted, or did they go outside of that agreement for that? I just want to make sure that it wasn't outside the agreement.
I don't believe,
Yeah.
I don't believe that they went outside the agreement. I think they talked to you.
Okay.
Oh, I'll bet.
But if we use XYZ pest control,
I think they use the same.
okay.
Yeah, we have them at town hall and at the senior center.
But I'll check, but I believe that's true.
Okay, I'm just looking for
We have a monthly
being
agreement.
careful. And other than that, I'm done.
Excellent. Next on the agenda is the town administrator's report.
Okay, so the only action item I have on my update this week is the CBA negotiations and really asking the board when we should probably start that late summer, if we're going to do that, and who is going to serve on that.
I would nominate Selectman Constantino.
I'll second that. No, you can't say it.
Thank you for your
You know.
service.
Yes, you win. There's one. We need two.
I nominate Scott.
Second. Congratulations, you
Thank
win.
That's good.
But is one of the discussions whether or not we should go ahead with this?
That's true.
I thought you would agree to do that.
Did we all agree to that?
Because
I didn't know.
we had talked, we've only talked wages.
Yes,
I know,
We had
but,
talked wages that,
okay.
I believe it was consensus,
I thought so.
so. consensus.
I thought we just discussed it. I don't know.
No, I remember, my recollection was is that in our discussion, we had said that we needed to go back and look at it again because we wanted to make sure that we had competitive wages.
That was my recollection.
And so what was the question? What are we doing? We're just, because it's coming up, or we're talking about early?
Early.
I don't know how that works.
Can we
but
talk about
with-
this in non-public?
Yeah,
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, it wouldn't be non-public, it'd be a non-meeting.
No, a non-meeting. Okay,
it's,
that would be great.
Okay, all right, so that's my only action item. Then I have a lot of FYIs. If anyone has any questions for me on my FYIs. A couple additional things that I want to point out, the historical items did get taken, the glass case is gone. You probably noticed that.
That just did about 10 minutes ago.
The additional speed limit sign on Caleb Hill Road did go up. We have the final contract back for their proposed contract, the DOT on Caleb Hill Road. I have made copies for all of you to take and review. And my question to you is, I would like because it's such a big financial commitment, that I would not want to go sideways on the town. I'd like to have our attorney look at it to make sure that we're not open to any potential liability. So, but you all have copies to look at. And Gail asked if, when you have your binders, if there's anything that you don't want to keep, put it aside on the table and then we'll throw it away. If anything you want to keep, put it in the front folder and she'll make sure it stays there.
I have a question.
Selectman Constantino.
I have two questions. One is the bullet on the federally funded program for New Hampshire homeowners assistant. Do we have any more information on that or no?
Give you all kinds of information on it.
Okay.
I'll send it to you.
Okay, great. And the other one is on the DES, the Crederi report. I read the report. It's very confusing to me. You sent it to conservation. Do we have a report from them or no? Did you ask
A report from conservation?
conservation?
No, I sent it to you, and then once I knew you had it, I sent it to him.
Do we,
But I have not heard anything.
so does Crederi send this to DES and then they decide whether or not we're required for a five-year monitoring? I can't remember whether they do or Crederi or
No.
we do.
No, the state does. The state will decide that.
So Crederi sends it to the state.
Because that, if you remember, this Crederi is being paid by the state. We hire Crederi.
Right.
They send the report to us and they
Yep.
report that to the state.
Okay, so we just have to sit back and wait whether or not this, and then the state will tell us that these monitoring wells will need to be monitored 3 or 5 years. Okay.
yeah, it's like, okay.
Seems like it's going on forever.
It is.
Jeannie, may I, I cannot put the offer open to the full public, but I can to the board and to our town administrator that if there's any time coming up that you would like to be able to come up and see the mansion, the plans for the mansion, of what's going to take place,
Yep.
please let me know. They're going to start some work in terms of some inside stairwells that need some engineering. But we should be able to get into the space, and we do have the drafts from the, why can I not think of the name? We have the drafts from the design drafts for the interior, and I can show you where the historical
Yeah,
space
it's
will be, et cetera. The architect, thank you.
Is it Salmon and Delia? Isn't that
I think it is, yeah. It is. So, so if you're interested, let me know, because we can sort of pop in over the next couple of weeks.
All right, I have one more question.
Yes, Selectman Constantino.
Do we have a deed for the 785 Laconia Road? No. Okay. Yeah.
Is there any new business?
Make a motion, we go into non-meeting.
You know.
We just go into it, right?
We just go in after we
That's it.
adjourn this one.
So, new business.
Yeah, we're not.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Motion and a second. All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
8:07, pretty good.
We're 7 minutes early.
You gotta turn off.
That's a lot of business.